there is an enormous amount of downside risk coming our way. I'm going to show you that people are starting to side with me. Canada's housing forecast update, and how this update is already out of date because of the shit show that's coming our way. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, so you're going to have to stick around. Let's start with the rates. This is from back on Monday. Financial market expects Bank of Canada interest rate to fall to 2.25% by year end. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I think we're going to get to 2% or less by the year end. Earlier this year, when I said that, I cautioned that there's a bunch of rate announcements in a year, and we're going to skip over a bunch of them. Still, I'm a little concerned because we skipped over the last one. And the next one's coming in September. We're running out of time. I have been warning for years that they're going to wait too long and they're going to be faced with a shit show, which is going to force them to cut too much. Like I said, you're going to have to wait for the end of the video to see the shit show. But believe me, it's worth it. All right, RBC released this morning, Canada's housing market forecast update. What do they see for the end of this year and beginning of next year? Recovery. Recovery to pre-pandemic levels of sales. RBC saying there's going to be a price dip into the beginning of next year and then a bit of a recovery. That's not really much of a dip. I'm going to disagree with that. Look, I've been saying this for 3 years now. The big adjustment happened at the end of 2022, at the beginning of 2023. Since then, home prices have been, flat or climbing. The home price index has been climbing. Is that a decrease in pricing? I mean, I guess it depends on where you're measuring from. They are seeing a decrease in unemployment. See? Look at that. Just like that, there's going to be a decrease in unemployment. But they also see the interest rate holding station at 2.75%. This and this are not happening in the same universe. That's going to keep increasing unemployment. The only way unemployment is going to decrease is if the interest rate decreases. One of those two things got to give. Why do I maintain that interest rates are going to give? Well, first up, the economy is not good in most of the world. Okay, the U.S. is the last to slow down, but they're still slowing down. That's what the numbers are saying, and I'll get to that in a bit. At the same time, oil production is still full steam ahead around the world. So the EIA says oil prices are headed for a steep slide as U.S. output peaks. They're forecasting that Brent crude, is going to fall from $71 a barrel in July to an average of $58 in the fourth quarter of 2025 and then slip towards $50 in early 2026. And as I hope we all know by now, low oil prices means low gasoline prices. Low gasoline prices means low inflation. What happened last time Brent crude got down to this price point? We slashed the interest rate to 0.5%. Just remember, you heard it here first. What else is happening? Trump threatens major lawsuit against Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell. You may remember this from several days ago. They were on the Federal Reserve compound talking about the renovations. Trump said it's $3.1 billion. Jerome Powell's like, what are you talking about? You're adding in extra buildings there. They're going to railroad Jerome Powell. Right now, financial markets think this is just bullshit. It's just talk. It's grandstanding. It's not going to happen. But if it does happen, things are going to go south super fast. Because then the world is going to see that the Federal Reserve is no longer independent from the government. And the guy running the government has bankrupted casinos. Yesterday I said the world is slowly moving away from the United States economically. This would be a major blow. The world will take a big step away from the U.S. And speaking of the world taking major steps away from the United States, there's this guy. Trump picks conservative economist to lead jobs data agency. Conservative is not what this guy is. I guess they're going to give a PhD to anyone right now. Because this guy's solution to bad economic data is to not share the economic data. He floats the idea of ending the monthly jobs report. Look, you can criticize the jobs report all you want in the format that it takes. However, that monthly jobs report is important in the United States. The stock market relies on it. Other financial institutions rely on it. You can't just not post it. Look, I understand those job report revisions were bad. But at least the world can look at that and say the U.S. is supplying accurate data. With this guy, all bets are off. Like, that appointment is happening. That guy's got the job. And the world's going to react very poorly to it. If this happens as well, it's done. The American empire will be over the moment he gets fired.